Welcome to Ninja Fight Night on the Ninja Sports Network. I'm your host, Beta X Complainer. With me I have Stuff is Stuff, and we're about to witness two legendary ninjas going head to head in what is sure to be one hell of a race. Now, Stuff is Stuff is no stranger to the low percent category, so we're going to throw over to him to give us a rundown of what this category is all about.
The low percent category is hands down my favorite category in Ninja Gaiden. The biggest reason for me is that it forces you to learn how Ryu's sword actually works. So you have to time your attacks so that you can mitigate the cottage cheese sword and make sure that you actually kill enemies. Another big thing is that you can pick up sub weapons, you can pick up Nimpo, things like that, as long as you don't use them. That means in this race, there's going to be no spinning to win. You can only use Ryu's sword. The other things that you have to avoid are the instant pickups. So you can't pick up the health and you can't pick up the time stop. If you pick those up, the run is ripped. So with that being said, good luck to the runners. I believe in you.
Racers will have one race to claim the title of low percent Fight Night champion. Now, as Stuff said, there is no spin slash in this race, so we hope that the competitors have brought their match. Looks like our racers are getting ready, so we'll send it over to our commentators, Pensive Moose and Razul, for some pre-race analysis.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the very first Fight Night in the Ninja Gaiden community. My name is Pensive Moose. I'm joined by my friend Razul, and we are super looking forward to this Canadian showdown in low percent versus blacksquall and Beardstrength. Razul, how excited are you?
I tell you what, low percent always is an interesting category, and I guess up north they don't use the spin slash. Is this true? Is that a myth?
Yeah, I think so. I've always been known as the fraudulent Canadian in the Ninja Gaiden community, so that means I know some things about Canada, and one of them is that they don't use the spin slash. That is true. The rumors are correct, Raz.
Well, I know that they can't use spin slash today because at low percent, as Stuff expertly pointed out, there isn't any help in this category. It's personally one of my favorite categories because it gives you a chance to see the game without all of the power up, without the spin slash. You will be seeing some very interesting things in terms of kills. Most of the boss fights are pretty straightforward, but you'll see an interesting kill for Massacre. You have to mash down the dogs and then add in technicality of the run, and then the boss rush at the end, which we all know is very kind, and then the trip to 6-1. So it should be exciting. I'm very excited.
Yes, I'm excited too. And just so everyone knows, Raz here in the commentary booth is the resident low percent expert, having gotten third place time just last year. Very proud of him for that. I am somewhat of a low percent noob, but I am here because of my skills as a commentator, you could say. And I am looking forward to see how this goes. As you heard Beta X say, there's only one race, and so they have one chance to get this right. And I think, Raz, what I would like to ask you is how is a low percent race different from any percent? Because I think a lot of us here have seen the NRL, and so we've seen that before, but this is something different. Tell me how low percent races are different.
Well, in a race setting, in any percent, you are allowed to pick up a health grab. So there's some, fortunate health grabs that you can take if things don't go your way in 5-1. There's a health pickup right before like the long pillar near the end of the screen, and then the most famous health pickup in any percent, of course, being in the final screen of 6-3. Those unfortunately are not going to be available to our runners today. So health management becomes a key issue at the end of this run. So you'll see the runners managing their HP. They might select strats that might be a little bit safer. You might see a few different kinds of boosts, but you will see that the runners today will probably be less reckless with their HP because there is no possibility to pick up the health grab and then kind of get that health refill toward the end of the game. However, one option on the table for the runners is because you don't have to worry about losing the spin slash, is you can take an intentional death at the beginning of a screen, which can cost anywhere from 4 to 6 seconds, but sometimes might be the right move given your health situation if you know you have to take a few boosts to get through the screen optimally. So you'll definitely see some differences, that and the different boss fights, because they won't be using the spin slash to instant kill the boss.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I didn't even think about that, but you're totally right about not being able to grab the health. Like in an 80% race, if it goes well, you're not really worried about that. But at least you know in the back of your mind the health is there. But in low percent, that's not an option. So that does make it interesting. I actually didn't realize that. And now that you mentioned the bosses, what makes me kind of nervous is the Kelberos boss because oh boy, things can go wrong so quickly on that in low percent. And I hope they brought their A game on the match because that could just be a very easy death, at least in my opinion. It seems like it would be.
Yeah, the issue with the doggo fight, when you see it in low percent, you're going to try to mash the dogs before the first dog leaves the left arm, although that is a tall ask. Now, we do have two very good mashers here, Blacksquall and Beardstrength. I have seen Beard's recent PB in which he got 5 hits per jump. And if you can get 5 hits per jump, you can do 3 particular, timed jumps where you time your slash cancels into the hitbox, and that might leave 1 to 2 slashes left when the dog gets down to the floor. Now, if the dog gets away from there, it really could be a tough situation for the runners because it isn't uncommon to enter into that boss fight with lower health. I wouldn't think health will be too much of a concern for the Basker fight, but certainly in the doggos, they may be in a situation where they can only take 1 or 2 hits from the dogs, and then it's kind of a long trip back to the beginning of 4-3. So in a
Yeah,
head-to-head
for sure.
scenario, that could be a deciding factor.
Yeah, that makes sense. It can be kind of scary. And I want to elaborate a bit on the cottage cheese sword, which I think really is the one of the main things that makes this category so interesting. What does the cottage cheese sword actually mean? Well, what it means is that every 16 pixels in this game, the sword will not work. For some reason, the developers, when they made this game, they decided every 16 pixels, when we load the graphics for the next section of the game, we are not going to allow the sword to work because we want our game to run smoothly. And so, because of that, if Ryu happens to be on one of those pixels where the sword doesn't work, he can swing the sword all he wants, but it's going to go right through enemies. And it's fun to see. It's fun to be a runner and to realize where these particular areas are. There are some enemies that are not really close to a cottage cheese sword pixel at all, but then there's others that are dangerously close to one. And so you really have to learn about when to time your sword swings, which makes the run pretty interesting. For some people, it's kind of annoying, right? But that's what makes it challenging, and I think that's why a part of the reason why people enjoy it so much.
Because you will see that there is a little bit less room for error than in a typical any percent run. The run itself is a little bit more technical because placing the sword in the hitbox, it can be problematic in the ways that you described. So if you miss it in a particularly bad spot, you could be looking at a kind of a fall pretty far down a pillar, or even worse, a knockback into a pit. So hopefully that doesn't happen. Let's make sure our runners have good luck. But the problem with this run is getting a deathless run, to set expectations, is not nearly as common as it is in any percent. So, if you see some of the runners, if you see the runner take a death or even an intentional game over, it might be part of their strategy in order to refill their health, in order to actually move through the game as quickly as possible.
Yeah, for sure. And I think one thing we can mention is that there are some similarities to any percent run, right? And so the same kind of challenges exist specifically on the demon. Maybe not so much Jackie, but on the demon, we could see obviously someone die, and that can really ruin their time. And so that was a very common trend in NRL, was seeing the demon kill runs, and we can definitely see that here. What makes it so dangerous is that this is their only race, right? And so this kind of reminds me of Dak's recent tourney where you only had one chance. And so it makes things a bit more interesting and it's significantly more nerve-wracking, in my opinion, because in the NRL, you're doing 3 races. And so your first one, you could be extra nervous, but then you may calm down after that. But this is just one race and that's it. And so it can be extremely nerve-wracking, in my opinion. Because you want to have more chance to calm down. You want to get another chance, but the reality is you don't have another chance. This is it. You got to go. You got to play well in order to win.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see if mistakes do happen, how the runners deal with those mistakes and kind of the fallout from those mistakes. And sometimes the runner that might, put together the cleanest run, even if it has a couple of deaths in it, may still end up with the better time. And kind of looking at these two's personal bests, and again, we can only get so much information from a personal best, especially with a low percent run, but Black Squall has a time in the 4X territory. I think it's 46, if I'm not mistaken. And then Beardstrength is coming in at a 1252. So these runners are very, very close in terms of their skill level. I'll be very interested to see what strats they choose to include and if they actually choose to include some safer strats. Really, are we going to be watching for the Bumble Tumble? Are you looking for Bumble Tumble here, Moose?
Uh, I mean, I think so. I'm not sure about Black Squall. It's funny, I know Black Squall, like, he's done so much in Beardstrength, and so he should be using something late there. I know Black Squall wanted to say that he could very easily go up on Humble. I'm really not sure what I expect your Beardstrength, though. I just know Black Squall a lot more stories, so I think he'll go Rumble. I'm not sure about Beardstrength. I'm not sure how much it changes in low percent. I guess it's the exact same strat, right? There's really no changes whatsoever from the setup and whatnot.
Yeah, just that's one of the places where, runners do tend to select a safer strat because, once again, you're kind of looking at a full screen if you go back to the beginning and die on a clench cliff. So a few places to keep an eye on. Buck clench cliff right at the end of 3-2. It'll be interesting to see how they navigate the doggos and the bass fight. And then overall, kind of how clean is the run. So, and we got the race room up here. It looks like the runners are exchanging some good lucks and some final commentary. I think we're almost ready. I'll just kind of check in here.
Yeah, we're really close to being ready. And one thing I'll mention for the chat is, most of you already know this probably, but if you don't, you should know that Beardstrength is somewhat of a low percent specialist, meaning this is his category. This is what he does. He runs low percent predominantly for Ninja Gaiden. But Black Squall, that's not the case for him. Black Squall is an any percent specialist, obviously being in the top 10 of Ninja Gaiden any percent right now. And so the reality is Black Squall has played this game quite a bit more than Beardstrength at this point, but he has not played low percent, I would say, way more than Beardstrength has. And so it's kind of an interesting dynamic there because you have someone who's played the game more, but has done it in a different way a bit. And so I expect them both to be very familiar with how the sword works. We've mentioned that a couple of times now. Knowing how the sword works is really important for this category, and I expect them both to know very well. I think that the real question is who can stay calm and just play well, because the reality is these are both very skilled runners and they have a similar PB, a similar skill level. And so we'll just see how calm they can remain, because to be quite honest, from my experience, remaining calm and not being super nervous is really the hardest part of a race. It's so difficult.
Yeah,
And speaking of, we're actually getting the race started here. I'm going through Act 1. You'll see some different strats here because obviously no spin slash. And so that starts from the very beginning. Some things will look slightly different.
Beardstrength taking the low route, always recommended. The sign grab it's a good strat. I'm not going to say that the sign shouldn't be grabbed, but there are times where, and in a low percent route, it's okay to stay low in Act 1-1.
Yeah, everyone in the community knows Raz and Bumbledon are big proponents of the low route, and it's funny. So many people like to do the high route. It's hilarious. But anyways, in the boss here, you'll see that we're not having spin slash, so we are going to be doing just the normal slice, slice, slice.
Pretty good sync here coming out of stage 1.
Yeah, that's right. I think that's interesting about killing the bosses like that is you can't just mash B as fast as you want. You actually have to time it a bit, otherwise you'll miss some slash inputs. So it looks kind of easy, but the truth is it does require a bit of practice in order to do it optimally.
It is true. Yeah, if you just spam the button as fast as you can, you will lose inputs every third or fourth press. Whereas if you slow down and kind of pay attention to your sword rhythm, you'll actually find that you can kill the boss much faster.
And it's interesting. Some of these movements, like that clip that Black Squall just did, some of those movements are in the 80% too. And again, like I said, Black Squall, having played this game quite a bit more than Beardstrength at this point, is going to have an advantage at some points of the run that are the same as 80%. Specifically, like movements, just general movements, like how tightly can you turn left and right, how optimally can you exit and enter ladders, like things like that. Black Squall is going to have somewhat of an advantage over Beardstrength.
Yeah, anybody is familiar with Black Squall's any percent grinds, we do know that he has some of the best climbs in the business. So it wouldn't be surprising to see him take advantage of that and put those climbs on full display. And actually, the only difference right now is Beard has taken a couple of unfortunate knockbacks, but for the most part, their pace is pretty similar. As you can see, Beard coming up to one of the more problematic parts of the run. People think Butt Clench Cliff is a difficult section in 3-2, and it absolutely is. But there are actually three places that are very similar as Beard takes care of the sword right there. So, there's a particular spot that sometimes will, give you that one hit death scenario.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that 2-2 is so free in any percent because of the spin slash, but in low percent, it makes the level actually difficult. Like it's like normally just so easy, but it's not the case in low percent. So there's just many ways that this category makes the run more interesting. And I think Beard Strength is playing a little nervous here, and just getting some like knockbacks here and there. I got a bit unlucky with hammers too. But I hope he's able to maintain composure and just catch up. The reality is Black Squall does have a lot of experience racing, and so he may feel a bit more composed at the moment.
It is important to point out that Beard's, hammer issue, there is a little bit more consideration of RNG when you're running low percent. In any percent, you do have to consider patterns, global timer, and the RNG, but sometimes you can spin slash through a bad hammer pattern, whereas then you don't have that option in low percent. So the best you can do is either take the knockback and keep going, or try your best to read the hammer and maybe slash it out of the air. And after you play low percent for a while, like Beard has, it wouldn't be surprising to me to see him be able to dodge some of those patterns, if in fact the hammer is active.
Absolutely,
Ooh,
it's funny to see. It's funny to see the double bird boost by Beardstring. That's very interesting. Was not expecting that. Definitely a bit of an advanced strat. But you bring up a good point. It's funny to see how clairvoyant some of these runners can be when they dodge and slice at hammers that they knew were coming. And Black Squall, sure enough, is going for Fumble Tumble, but not Beard Strength. He's going for the pause and jump strat, and that's working out fine for him.
Well, and for the record, that is my preferred race strat for Butt Clench Cliff. It's a rare occurrence that you throw Butt Clench Cliff into the race, although there are runners that like to do it. I'm surprised
Absolutely.
sometimes he'll go for Butt Clench Cliff even in these race scenarios.
There you go. Both of them taking care of Massacre, heading into 4-1 here.
And it was
Black
a good
Squall,
way,
little standing slash.
kind of a nice little showcase there of how you kill Massacre with only the sword. Because most people, I think, if you're familiar with any percent, you're used to seeing the flame kill, either the standard kill or a version of it, either a little faster or a little slower.
One thing I neglected to mention earlier is that if one of these runners accidentally grabs health or grabs the flame wheel, they will be having to take an intentional death and restart the screen, because that is not a valid low percent run. And so that's going to be a big deal. If one of them accidentally kills something with the spin slash or something weird like that, they will be having to take an intentional death, which will be a really big deal. And Black Squall taking the death there on the quick climb, I believe he must have clipped through the ladder when he made it through the screen. He did tell me that he's actually breaking in some new rubbers a bit, so unfortunately the climbs aren't going to be as perfect as they usually are. So I know he's slapping himself on the knee for that one, because he probably knew it was coming, and he's going to be upset about it. Let's just put it that way, because he knows he can do better. But he is in the lead right now still, despite that death. So
there's a risk when you clip through the ladder of dying and even going all the way back. So it's never a good thing to clip through the ladder, but if you're gonna clip through, you hope to just die on the previous screen and then be able to climb back up, or just immediately climb back up. But either way, it is a bit of a time loss.
it absolutely is, but he's still able to maintain the lead. I believe he's just playing a bit cleaner overall. But I mean, there hasn't been any super terrible mistakes, really. I mean, just like small things here and there. I think both runners are playing pretty solidly right now.
Yeah.
And
Very
this is
cool. And
shaping up to be a good race.
yeah, it is shaping up because it's still anybody's race. Even if blacksquall has a slight lead going into the top route here, it's a relatively new way to go. The old route is to actually just bypass that whole section and then kind of just climb on the, um, that little wall there and, kind of skip all those enemies altogether. As we see, blacksquall has to do a little dog chasing here. Ends up with a pretty good kill. Let's see how Beard does.
Beardstrength can make up some time here. Nice kill. Look at that. That's pretty fast right there, isn't it, Raz?
Yeah, that is a very good kill. I would take that in a PB attempt for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, as we enter into 5-1, you're going to see a lot of similarities to the any percent route. However, it'll be interesting to see if blacksquall uses half the bird boost or if he goes to the full bird. Because in any percent, you'll typically use the swag star as you're taking the second leg of the bird boost. Let's see how it goes.
Oh, that's right. It does change a bit there.
He is going to go for the double bird. Low percent double bird boost. Let's go. Very nicely done.
And you can actually do that in any percent to save Ninpo if you want, but I think only a couple people really do that strat. And so it's kind of cool to see it in low percent. Beardstrength opting not to go for the double bird boost. Again, blacksquall having that any percent experience, I think was felt more comfortable going for that double bird boost, and Beardstrength opting not to do it.
Maybe 10 to 12 seconds behind Squall at this point, but still anybody's race. As you can see, Beard has not taken a death, and Squall has taken what ended up being a pretty quick death on that ladder clip through.
I think, and Black Swallow taking another death on the ladders. Wow, that's so unlike him. But again, unfortunately, some real life conditions just making it harder for him because, like I said, he is having to use new rubbers. So wow, he is now down to 0 lives, and so if he dies again, it's a game over, and that's much worse. So he really has. Oh, he's actually going to take an intentional death here because I think he's planning on. Wow, what do you think, Raz? What was his thought process there?
So instead of dying in the middle of the screen somewhere, right? Let's say that one of the screens in 5-3 doesn't go the way he wants. A death in that situation would have brought him all the way back to the beginning of 5-3. So he gives up the 4 seconds. Ooh, takes a bad boost there from the jetpack.
Oh, wow.
Say that had happened before, he would have gone, instead of back to the beginning of the screen, he would find himself 2 screens previous. So it would have been a worse time loss. It was a pretty good health management.
That makes sense. But Beardstrength taking a death twice in the same place. He died there. And then he tried again and died once again. It was interesting because blacksquall's death actually helped Beardstrength catch up. So for a second, I was wondering if he did the right thing. But he absolutely did because he died on the jetpack ninjas. And Beardstrength, having died here twice, he might be flustered. I mean, I would be flustered too because he died at the same exact spot 2 times. But honestly, he has to remember that he's still in this. He can't assume that it's over, right? Because sure, it's not. I mean, he doesn't know that, I'm sure, but he has to just keep in mind that he doesn't know what Blacksquall is actually, how well Blacksquall's played. So he needs to just maintain his composure and just go for the win. Summoning Beepaw boost there, by the way. Nice little meme there in the community.
It's always good luck to summon Bfob's Ghost. You never really know what can happen, especially as we enter 6-1. And as you can see, Squall will use a very similar route to the any percent route to get rid of the first few enemies. But once we hit 6-2, things will be much different because you will not be able to grab the spin slash and take it with you to the clown nose. And as you can see, I think that was an intentional game over from Beard after the Malf kill.
Yeah, I know it's a smart thing. I know it kind of makes sense in your head, but at the same time, he loses time from that, and now he's much he's further behind than he was before. So I understand why he did that, but he's gonna have to hope that Black Squall takes a death somewhere or just makes some major mistakes in order to catch up.
Oh, think Squall did Squall think.
Squall's taking a beating here. Look at it. Oh wow.
Spin slash. So what you do is if you accidentally pick up the spin slash like you would in any percent, you can pick up the swag star in one of the next candles. It's a good strategy so that you don't accidentally use the spin slash because usually at this point in 6-2 you do have a little bit of nimpo. Nice climb.
That was extremely dicey there. Having to not use that spin slash. Wow. I commend him for being so smart there. Oh, but he's getting stuck in Hell's hallway, and there he goes. He takes another death. This is Beardstrength's chance to catch up. He needs to get through Hell's hallway cleanly, and he does. Look at that.
Very nice low percent screen from Beardstrength. The experience showing off there. This is evened up quite nicely.
Oh, for sure. And as someone who runs any percent, that Hell's hallway, in my opinion, is just one of the worst spots in the game. So it's interesting to see Beardstrength make it through because, again, he's played low percent a little bit more than blacksquall at this point.
Interesting there. Beard took the regular exit boost for low percent, whereas in blacksquall chose to climb the wall and skip that exit boost.
Yeah, I think blacksquall is just maybe playing a little scared there, trying to just not die because he's continued to be taking these deaths. He didn't want to take another one, so I think he's trying to play it safe there. Beardstrength's got a nice lead here. We'll see how the bosses shake out. I think their boss skill again is maybe not completely balanced because we might actually see blacksquall go for like a 2.5 or a 2 cycle Jackio. So he does have an advantage there, but first he has to make it there alive.
A little concerning, but he should have enough to get to the final door.
Beardstrength, I think, only for double. Oh, little dicey here.
Okay, can he make it? Ooh, it's gonna be close. He dies right at the end.
No.
This is gonna give blacksquall
no.
an advantage, but that is not uncommon in low percent because again, health management is so critical toward the end of this stage.
Yeah. If he had more health, he could just held right, but unfortunately, not able to do that. Beardstrength needs to hope that blacksquall really messes up here, but I don't know if that's going to happen. Blacksquall going for center plat. Oh, he's messing it up though.
Takes the neck back.
This is going to be a slow Jackio for him. It might be a chance for Beardstrength to make up just a little bit of time. And if you mess up center plat at the beginning like that, it is so hard to back it up quickly. It really just ruins the whole thing when you mess it up that early. But regardless of that slower Jackio, he's still well ahead and just needs to not die to the demon. Here he goes, blacksquall.
Shrimp pattern.
Decent shrimp.
In heart kill.
And there it is. There it is. Blacksquall able to win. At first the racers played so cleanly, but so many deaths there at the end, and unfortunately Beardstrength not able to close it out because of the death right before the boss door. And he's gonna be really upset about that one. I know that I would be too, but the truth is he played so well. He was able to overcome blacksquall and Hell's hallway and was able to display his low percent skill. They both played really well, and the times were so close. I mean, you can see there on the stream, it's 7 seconds apart. Or 8 seconds apart. And so that was just a really good race overall. Great job to our competitors here.
Yeah, we got blacksquall finishing with a time of 13:33 in the race room, and we've got Beard with a time of 13:42, as you can see on the on-screen timer. So GG's racers, very, very close, very good low percent race, and excellent way to showcase the category. Kind of give people an idea of what the sword is all about, because most people are familiar with the spin slash, but even though the spin slash does reign supreme in any percent, there's nothing like the sweet satisfaction of a run finished with nothing but the sword. So GG's runners, congratulations Squally, and nice job Beardstrength. And unfortunately we have to say that death that he took at the end of that final screen of 6-3, it is about a 7 to 12 second death. So you got to just commend both runners for really staying right on each other's, kind of tail there, right? And the paces were very, very close. And it kind of just came down to that health management at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. And health management, I mean, it's barely a thing in any percent, truly. It's really not that much of a thing. It kind of is, for sure, especially in races, but in low percent, it's just a huge thing. Like it's so big of a thing compared to any percent. So that makes this whole race more interesting. Chat, I hope you guys enjoyed that as much as I did. The truth is, I've never seen a low percent race in my life until today, and so I appreciate Beta X for putting this on. I think we hope to do some more fight nights here and there, not only with low percent, but with other categories as well, 80%, hopefully some pacifist as well. So thank you, Beta X, for having us, and thanks, chat, for showing up. We're actually going to have a little outro here, a little wrap it up sort of sequence. And so I'm going to kick it over to Beta X to do that.
Thank you, Moose. Thank you for checking out the Fight Night Low Percent, Blacksquall, Beardstrength. And thank you, Beta. It's been a lot of fun.
I'd like to thank Razul, Pensive Moose, and Stuff is Stuff for being here. And that's it for the first Ninja Fight Night. So from myself and the rest of us at Ninja Sports Network, thanks for watching and keep on matching.